Hello everyone, the December Review here, back again with a movie review. Today, we have the latest Netflix film, Troll. It's about a mythical creature who uses the internet to leave disparaging comments on people's posts, just to cause trouble. Spoilers are ahead. Alright, so it's not actually about that. Troll is the recently released Norwegian action blockbuster about a mythical creature who awakens in present day while a team of humans must find a way to stop it before it destroys everything in its path. Well, again, sort of. On the surface, the film is your standard monster kaiju concept, but there's actually some pretty well-conceived layers to its story. Let's take a closer look. The film opens up with Nora Tideman hiking up a mountainside along with her dad Tobias. While sitting atop of said mountain, Tobias reminds Nora of the old folklore regarding the area, about the grand creatures who may or may not have existed, but if you truly believe it, then it can be true. We cut to 20 years later and Nora is now a paleontologist and estranged from her dad. Well, wouldn't you know it, but there's an explosion inside a mountain where railway work was underway, causing some major damage to the area. It could all be chalked up to some standard industry accident, except there happens to be some rather large footprints left behind. Oh, and some cell phone footage where you can just make out the presence of a giant monster. A team is set up and the mission is underway to figure things out. Let me say right off the bat that I enjoyed this film. Let me also say that if you've seen the 1998 Hollywood Godzilla movie, then you already have a head start here. There's some pretty big similarities between the films, mostly in its first arc. It's too noticeable not to mention. But while that Godzilla film is pretty much universally hated by everyone, have no fear. It's mainly because of the plot points, not so much in quality of the film. Side note, the 98 Godzilla isn't really all that bad. Its one huge flaw was the Godzilla design, which, if it was more in line with the standard version we all know, the film would have been more favorable for everyone. Making Zilla into a Jurassic Park clone, well, was a bad idea. But I digress. You won't find any of that shenanigans in Troll, but you will get a very well-paced action film with just enough sentimentality that creates an above-average film in its field. While watching the movie, I found myself in a bit of a nostalgia trip back to those 90 big-budget action films. Armageddon, Independence Day, Twister, and yes, Zilla. Well, pretty much every Roland Emmerich film. But Troll managed to showcase a lot of those films' bravado while doing so on a more personal scale. It really helped me invest in the characters. And in doing so, it created a well-made and well-meaning movie. At its core, the story is about family. When we meet Nora and Tobias, their bond is seemingly strong. And what could have created a 2-decade divide between them? Much of the narrative is dedicated to their story and the process of bridging their relationship back together. As for the troll itself, his backstory is painted with mystery while his presence unfolds one piece at a time. He never truly comes across as aggressive unless provoked, and make no mistake, the troll is most certainly provoked here, but its concept is one of longing for its own family and history. There are definitely some tropes. Let's face it, if you've seen 3 monster mashup films, you've kinda seen them all. Giant monster pops up, causing panic and destruction. Usually in New York City, but in this case Norway. People below freak out and send in the usual defense weapons. Tank shooting missiles? Check. Helicopter swoop-ins complete with King Kong reference for good measure? Check. Deciding to just try and nuke the thing when all else fails? Check, check, and check. And you will no doubt be able to guess more than a few lines of dialogue before they are even said. It's just Giant Monster 101 at this point. But none of that matters to me in the slightest, and in fact, the all too familiar moments had me enjoying the film even more. Most of the time in these movies, the big takeaway is the monster action. The story in between can be an afterthought. At least it mostly was over the decades with Toho and its legendary run of kaiju and live-action tales. With Troll, the focus is on the unknown giant, but it's also there with its leads, at least enough to maintain solid interest before the next Troll visit. And overall, Troll takes everything you would expect in this type of film, adds in a better-than-average human storyline, manages to create some real tension in its first act, and has a cast that is fully committed to its story. Sure, the whole thing is predictable, For fans of the genre, or anyone who wants to take a trip back to a different era in film, well, you won't need to go farther than Netflix to watch this well-made and enjoyable movie. I give Troll 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel for more.